They called him the rudest man in town, a millionaire who scared away every waitress in less than a week. He never smiled, never said thank you, and tipped with coins, if he tipped at all. But one morning, a young pregnant waitress walked in. Everyone whispered, "She won't last 3 days." They were wrong. It was a rainy Tuesday in Willow Creek. Main Street glistened under the drizzle, the smell of fresh bread mixing with the earthy scent of wet pavement. Inside Harper's diner, regulars sipped coffee, their conversation soft and familiar. At exactly 8:02, the bell above the door rang, and in walked Edward Grayson, tall, silver-haired, dressed in a sharp black suit. He didn't glance at anyone. He took his usual seat in the corner booth, unfolded his newspaper, and waited. That day, Clara Bennett, 6 months pregnant, wearing a crisp uniform, approached his table. "Good morning, sir. May I take your order?" Without looking up, he said, "Coffee. Black. And don't make it taste like mud like last time." She returned moments later with the cup. He sipped, grimaced. "Figures. You people can't even boil water right." Clara's reply was calm. "I'm sorry it's not to your liking. Would you like me to make it again?" For the first time, his eyes lifted, studying her face. He said nothing, then went back to his paper. Over the next days, Edward tested Clara. He complained about pancakes not being perfectly round, water a degree too cold, bacon too cheerful, because it curled into a smile. She never rolled her eyes, never sighed, never snapped. "How do you put up with him?" Judy asked one afternoon. Clara's answer was simple. "Sometimes people just need patience." One late afternoon, dark clouds rolled in, rain lashed against the diner windows. Thunder shook the walls, and suddenly the lights went out. The kitchen fell into chaos. Edward tapped his fingers impatiently at his booth. Clara quietly lit a small gas stove in the back, brewed tea in an old kettle, and made simple cheese and tomato sandwiches by hand. She placed them before him. "It's not what you usually order," she said softly, "but I didn't want you to go hungry." For the first time in years, his lips curved into a small smile. The next day, Edward didn't come, nor the next. On the third day, the bell jingled, and there he was, in a wheelchair, pushed by a nurse. His skin was pale, his hands trembling. "Wasn't feeling well," he muttered. Clara simply brought him a steaming bowl of chicken soup and fresh bread. He ate quietly, glancing up at her now and then. Something unspoken passed between them, a fragile thread of understanding. Over the following weeks, Edward's sharp edges softened. He began greeting Clara, sometimes asking about her baby. She learned his wife had died a decade ago, and his son lived overseas. The diner was his only place for human connection, but years of loneliness had turned him cold. Clara didn't pity him. She treated him as she treated everyone, with respect and kindness. Winter came, snow piling against the sidewalks. One morning, Edward called Margaret, the diner's owner, over to his booth. The staff froze, certain Clara was about to be fired. Instead, Edward took out his checkbook. "I want to cover all of Clara's medical bills," he said. Clara froze, stunned. "Why would you do this?" she whispered. Edward's answer was steady. "Because you didn't give up on me, and I'm not going to give up on you." The diner was silent. Then Judy smiled, the cook chuckled, and Clara's eyes filled with tears. Months later, Harper's diner was quieter without Clara's gentle voice. Then one sunny afternoon, Edward walked into the local hospital carrying flowers and a teddy bear. In the room, Clara sat on the bed, cradling her newborn. She looked up and smiled. Edward placed the gift beside her and handed her an envelope. Inside was a check for a college fund. "For the baby," he said simply. The man who had once driven away every waitress now had someone to greet every morning, and a reason to smile. In Willow Creek, the legend of the Grayson curse was replaced by another story. The day a young pregnant waitress met the rudest man in town, and they both walked away changed forever.